What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Grow with Nico podcast. I, of course, am your host, Nico, and today we have Joe here with us. Joe is a good friend of mine I met a long time ago, always giving me nitbits of golden advice that I try and strive towards every day. And he truly is an inspiration to me, an inspiration to many, and he's always looking to support other people. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to know him better. I'm excited to get to know him a little bit deeper as well. And I'd love to start off just by saying that this podcast is truly meant to show others different versions of success and what success could mean to them. And it's not always just a straight and narrow path of like what you're told you can do. It's also like the infinite different ways that we can make it in this universe, right? Which is crazy. So Joe is an entrepreneur, a personal branding coach, a father, among many other things. But his story is truly an extremely unique one. So I'd love to hear a little bit about like your upbringing and that story of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny story. So as you know, I grew up on a small farm in Virginia. So moved down here a handful of years ago, and we can get into why we moved here as well. But in terms of Virginia, like I just grew up on a small farm. I was raising like chickens, ducks. I had pigs at one point, like all kinds of random animals. And I've always had this like entrepreneur mindset. Like I've always wanted to sell. I've always wanted to make my own money, buy my own things, do my own business. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I was probably like 14 or 15. We had some chickens. They were laying a ton of eggs. We had literally fridges full of eggs, and we weren't selling them. And I was like, you know what? My mom was like giving them away to neighbors and my aunts and uncles for free. And I'm like, we could probably sell them for like $3, $4 a dozen. Like, I'm just going to go and start selling. And so fast forward a year or two, it became like a full-fledged business. The only issue was marketing. I didn't have any way to actually like sell my stuff like consistently. So that's when I stumbled across Facebook and Instagram, grew to a couple thousand followers each on Instagram and Facebook, literally just posting chores, like me doing my daily routine on the farm, giving little pieces of advice to farmers, and then occasionally just marketing the farm products. And so I had a ton of local business or local clients that started taking notice, like, oh, you're in, Northern Virginia. Do you, sell me some chicken eggs? Could I buy like a dozen, full chickens and like put them in my freezer? I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Whatever you need.
Yeah, and then next thing I knew, I was like selling out of like all these farm products using social media. So that's, I guess, the soft segue into social media. I was like, okay, interesting. Like I could use this tool, online to make money and sell products. And then obviously I got into just like entrepreneurship. I've read tons of books, Napoleon Hill, Grant Cardone, like Robert Kiyosaki, like all like the classic business books that people get into, mindset as well. And then that's when I started the Real Joe McCarthy page. I was probably also 15-ish years old, and I just like started posting what I was learning, just like new little tips and stuff like that. And then fast forward to today, that's blown up, and we'll dive into that here shortly. But that's kind of how I got started.
Totally. And how old are you now? I know you said you started
23.
23.
Yeah.
So we're actually the same age.
Dang.
Which is so cool. Like genuinely so cool to see how like we can be the same age, but the trajectory can be so different. But something that's been really cool, the more and more I do these, the more I start to realize that like for so many people, like dude, you're 23 and you're doing some really incredible things in my opinion. And for a lot of people looking from the outside in, it might seem like it's something that happens like overnight. You know what I mean? It's like, dang, look at this dude who like made it so quickly. But in reality, it's been what now?
Probably 8 years. Yeah.
8 years doing the same craft over and over, starting from literally eggs, which is so cool. Starting from literally eggs and chickens and like promoting it through, back then social media was still like,
it wasn't anything crazy. It was,
So just like an analogy that I'm like huge on is I'm really big into like plants. Like my apartment is just covered in plants, and it's always crazy to see how like I see seeds as like intentions. You kind of gotta like plant those seeds, plant those intentions, and water them and water them and water them and watch them grow, and that's how you grow your garden. Yeah. So 8 years later, you're where you are today, which is incredible. But we're gonna get into that shortly with Jem. From growing up on the farm, was there any like values that were instilled in you from working on that farm and from being in like this family business that you still use to this day?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is definitely the work ethic. Like, for instance, I mean, Northern Virginia winters are brutal, right? So like it could easily be 10 degrees, 20 degrees, freezing cold, windy, snowing, flurries, ice storms, literally no matter what. If I don't go out every single day, feed the animals, make sure the shelter's all like buttoned up and not blown over, which has happened many times.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, there was a ton of like craziness going on with the farm, and I was like 14 or 15 years old. So like I was a kid dealing with that stress and like having to go out in these flurries, and like there was times where like the snow was up to my neck, and like we had to like dig trenches
like,
to get to the chickens, get to the pigs, and I think the work ethic is the biggest thing, because like if you can do that at that age every single day, no matter what the conditions are, then me doing personal branding or coaching, sitting in my air-conditioned office, like texting on my phone, on Zoom calls, like it's a breeze, honestly.
You're like, wait, this is kind of nice.
Yeah. So I'd say like the work ethic is the biggest thing. Like I had to work like a dog every single day. Like there's some days where I'd wake up at like 6 a.m. and it'd be like a full like processing day where like we're, butchering chickens and like selling them on the farm, and it'd be like a full like 13-hour day, and I was a kid. So I think that was the biggest thing, but then also just like the consistency, right? Like, I mean, I had to literally go out there. If I didn't go feed the animals one day, like they'd be screwed. So I needed to be out there every single day, no matter what. I think that's also helped in the business, is because whether it's content, building your brand, launching an offer, building a business, consistency is something that a lot of people struggle with, right? Like they post for like 5 months or 5 weeks, and then they fall off for 2 weeks, or they like get into momentum finally with the business and, with the momentum with the coaching, and then something happens and they take a month off and then it goes back to square one. So like with me, I've literally never missed a week of posting in 6 years. I've never missed a day of work, unless I'm like intentionally taking the day off, which I can do. But that consistency is just also something that's just ingrained in me. Like I do not struggle with consistency. Like you have to get me to stop working. Like I'm obsessed with it. So I think that's the biggest thing I learned from farming.
It's a little bit of an obsession, and that's honestly a good thing.
It is.
Do you have any systems in place? I know you said a big thing is being consistent, and it seemed to me like you were extremely disciplined even growing up. No matter the obstacle, no matter if the snow's up to your neck, like you're in there, you're going to get it done. Do you have any systems in place now that you use to like keep yourself consistent and disciplined, or is it kind of just something you got engraved in you?
Both. I mean, it's something that's ingrained in me, but I still want to make it easier for me. I have systems. Like I have a system for my content creation, which we can dive into, like my whole process on how I'm consistent with that. But even just like with the tasks that I have to do, I'm shocked at how many people I talk to, they just don't stick to a simple schedule. Like from when I wake up at like, let's say 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., all the way up until like 10 p.m. when I want to go to bed, every single hour in my day, Monday through Sunday, is blocked off. Like even today, and it's a Sunday, but I have you blocked in here. I have time with family. I have stuff when I want to like respond to some DMs and emails. I put it in my schedule, and that's how it gets done. Like I live by my schedule every single day, no matter what. Because the thing is like if you know you have like a handful of tasks that you want to get done, and you don't write it down, or you don't put it in your time block for like the week ahead, you're probably not going to do it. The other thing too is there's like Parkinson's law or some kind of law where the amount of time that you give a task, you're going to fill up that task. That's why a lot of times, back when you were like in college or high school, you wait to the very last minute to do that exam paper because it only takes maybe, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours. So like you don't need a full week. So I kind of apply that to my business as well. Like I don't need an entire day to do content. I can squeeze that into like a 3-hour period and get it all done there. I don't need like 4 hours to respond to DMs, emails, messages. I can time block that in like an hour. So that's why in my increments with my schedule, it's like hour by hour. And so I just live by my schedule, and that's how I've been able to just be radically consistent and have like the processes and discipline to actually get it done.
Definitely a few questions on it, but to start, because I agree, I think the wins are in the daily habits, not the weekly, monthly, quarterly habits. Is what are you doing every single day? Do you have a physical schedule? Do you like use this in a digital thing, or what do you use?
Bro, I use Google, but I also just use my notes section. Like if you looked at my notes section on my phone, I'll just write it down. I have like a general structure that I follow, but then I kind of like mix and match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some days I'll be doing like podcasts, other days I'll be doing more like coaching calls, consulting calls, enrollment calls. So it's like I'll kind of like mix and match it, but I have like a general structure that I follow. But it's literally just, I mean, it's in my notes section. I think people overcomplicate it. They all these crazy funnels and like AI softwares. And like, I just use my notes.
Dude, just sit down for like an hour with yourself. Like talk to yourself, understand yourself. That's something really big that I've been trying to get into recently is like talking to myself more. Yeah. I feel like in a world filled of like building your schedule and having time blocks for everything and like sticking the wins come from sticking to the schedule, but there are so many times in life where I feel like we're working and working and working and working, whether it's in our careers, in our like passion projects, in all those different things. Do you ever spend time just like sitting down and talking with yourself? And
I need to be better about that for sure. I mean, I think that's something that I try to put in my schedule as well. It's like, hey, block out, I literally put it in my notes, block out 2 hours on like a Saturday or like 3 hours on a Sunday and just like sit there, have a journal if you need to write stuff down, start digging into like how your month's going, like how are you feeling? Like I try to just like start with the question of like, how am I feeling? And I just like start writing down stuff and it's like, okay, stuff will come to me and I'm like, oh, okay, I now notice that this is how I've been the past month because of X, Y, and Z. But to your point, I feel like a lot of us, we get in this like rat race of wanting to succeed and like we're obviously both very motivated. So we want to reach that next level and chase that next thing. And like we're always in the grind that we kind of just put to the wayside, just spending time with ourselves, checking in with ourselves.
Checking in, dude.
And the next thing you know, it's like you get burnt out. You're like, holy crap, it's been a month. I'm exhausted. Like I need to just like slow down.
Just take a breath.
Yeah, like sometimes you need to slow down and speed up at times. And a lot of us, we just get in this thing where like we're reactive and it's like, okay, now I'm burnt out. So now I'm going to go take 3 days off and go to the beach. When in reality,
that's where you lose it all, right? In those 3 days where you disconnect or like if you truly just completely let go of something, all that momentum.
Yeah, you're back to square one.
Back to square one. And it's crazy how quickly things can fall off, so to speak. I recently just read The Alchemist, talking about books.
Yeah.
Such an incredible book. Like, so good. I could do like an hour, 2 hour conversation just on that book alone. But a big thing that they were talking about in the book, and I apologize, universe, if I butcher this, but a concept was like maktab, essentially saying like it is written. Like it's already written, it's already going to happen. Like there's nothing you can do to change what is proceeding from here.
Yeah.
So it's just that alone has helped me like really take a step back and calm down and like breathe for once.
Yeah.
Like the universe has our back and whatever's meant to come will come. So sometimes just trying to like force things to happen. Dude, it's like punching a wall. Like there's no winning.
I literally have an entire module in like video dedicated to that in my program because I would always try to force stuff and try to like continue, trying to push it. And like I actually had this thing that I tell myself, I'm like, it's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up yet, right? It's like, it's already there. Like you've already succeeded. You've already gotten the accolades and the family and the wins and the business and, the success. Is just like time has not caught up yet, right? Yeah. Like you said, it gives you a lot of peace. But I even give that analogy. It's like you think of any sport. Let's take basketball. Anytime you try to force and you skip over the practice, a lot of times when we force things, we're trying to get to the thing or get to that end goal way too quick. So we skip over what we need to be going through and like that process, that practice that builds us to be able to like deserve that thing or like even just like withhold the thing. Like we can't just skip over who we need to become and like the building process. Because if that happens, you go back to square one. So if anytime you try to force, let's say in a basketball game, you skip over the practice, you just try to go for the goal or go for the win or dunk. Next thing you know, you have to go back to square one and like relearn everything because you skipped over the practice, you did it wrong, and now you got to go back to square one. So a lot of times, forcing it just backfires and kind of does the opposite. What you're trying to do. And
like sometimes you can make that 3-pointer once, but that doesn't mean you're going to make it 10 out of 10 times after that. Yeah. Going back to consistency. But as we keep talking, the program keeps coming up. GEM keeps coming up. What is GEM for us, for those watching?
Yep.
And how does that tie into like what your career is now?
So GEM Social is essentially an accumulation of my journey, what I've learned, what I've experienced, packaged up into like a cohesive program. Mm-hmm. So for instance, I've been doing this for, like we said, about 8 years now. So a lot of learning lessons, a lot of trial and error. I've also personally invested into probably $150,000 worth of coaching courses, mentors, conferences, all kinds of stuff. So all the wins, all the, like the learning lessons, the golden nuggets, I've packaged into a program where essentially if let's say you're a coach or even just someone who wants to build your personal brand or your company brand, and you're just struggling with some of the foundational things, which a lot of people do because again, they skip over that practice. So they don't know who their target audience is. They don't know the messaging and the content. They don't know how to attract the right audience. They don't know what content actually hits and like gets the views and gets the followers. And then they don't know how to convert the followers into clients. So I essentially have a process where I take them through 12 weeks of like intensive step-by-step structures to help them build their brand, dial in their messaging, structure an offer, make sure they're actually getting leads, and then converting those leads into calls, and then how to close on enrollment calls. So it's like basically A to Z. If you're a coach doing 2K, 5K, 10K a month, you want to go like 20K or 30K or 50K or whatever it is, that's what we do. Or if you're a new coach and you're like, I just want to build this social media thing. I don't have an offer yet, but I know I have a crap ton of value that I can give. Mm-hmm. I just need to know how to package this up, put it on social media, grow, get the right audience, and then convert that audience into sales. So that's essentially GEM Social.
GEM Social, yeah. Which is sick. It's essentially a program A to Z of being able to take people through the process of how can they monetize their success, so to speak, which is awesome. And I think that's why the online space is really, it's cool, right? I think everyone wants to get into it one way or another. I know, and it's figuring out kind of what is your ikigai, like what are you good at, what can you monetize, but then also understanding who can actually support you to get there. Like the mentorships and all those things, that they are really important. And it's hard at first. I feel like from the outside looking in, being like, oh no, I've got ChatGPT, I can figure this out.
That's what they all say. Then they get into it. It's been 8 months, and like, shoot, I've gotten 3 sales at $100, $300 for 2 years. I need some help.
I need some help there, and it's great. So thank you for sharing about GEM. Honestly, it's super cool how you're able to support so many people along their journey and help them get to a point where like they can be proud of the things that they're doing as well. I feel like sometimes it's really hard when you get lost into like this career where you lose, talking about alchemists, like you kind of lose sight of your personal legend. You just get stuck into this thing or like success of what someone else told you success was, and you just get lost in it. And then you're looking back and you're like, dang, I didn't even choose to be here, but I'm here because someone else told me this is where I should be. But you don't get to enjoy, quite literally, the view. That's awesome. So did GEM Social start when you were on the farm? Was it GEM at that point? Or was it GEM before you knew it was GEM, right?
That's a good question. I mean, technically I had like an LLC. I always knew my business was going to be GEM Social. Mm-hmm. So I basically bought the LLC when I was like super young. I was like kind of flip-flopping on like what exactly it was going to be, like how I was going to, this offer is relatively new. It's maybe like 2.5 to 3 years old. So before that, like I was doing like high ticket sales in high school. I was selling still online, like doing like coaching, consulting, helping people like get out to more people, press articles, personal branding type of stuff. So that was also a segue into like the personal branding coaching. But I was getting a lot of people just like in my DMs saying like, hey, do you offer like coaching, consulting? Like I have this page that we built up. Mm-hmm. How do we like get sales? How can I like dial in like the messaging? So I was like, I should probably design some kind of program, like more like a mid to high ticket program, and launched that a couple years ago. It's had huge success. People are getting crazy results. But going back to like the farm, let's say I think I was 15 years old, and I knew I wanted to do something in marketing. I don't know if you know Ty Lopez. He's like one of the
OG
of like the personal SMMA type of stuff.
This Lambo's great, but you know what's better?
You know what's okay? This is a crazy story about Ty Lopez. So this is technically the actual way I got into this whole like digital marketing, personal branding thing was his mentor, Joel Salatin. Joel Salatin is this farmer in Virginia. And if you listen to Ty, like you listen to his old podcast, he would always be talking about his mentor, Joel Salatin. Like he has a lot of mentors. He invests into himself. But Joel Salatin is this like sustainable farmer. He actually lived 2 hours away from my farm in Virginia.
No way.
So I actually drove to his farm, Polyface, and I basically he had like a couple little events that he would throw, and I met him personally, like shook his hand, said hey. And like Joel is probably like one of the most well-known farmers just in the world. So he's hopping on all kinds of massive podcasts.
That's sick.
He was on Joe Rogan's podcast like 3 times.
Keep going, we're good.
Yeah, so he was like hopping on Joe Rogan's podcast like 3 times. Like it was insane. And so basically his apprentice was Ty Lopez. So Ty basically went to his farm at age 19, interviewed and like basically like worked on Joel Salatin's farm. And I was watching a podcast from Joel Salatin because at the time I was like very into farming. So I was like learning from him.
Which is so sick. I didn't know that Ty was like,
dude,
started from farming.
he like even like went to the Amish. Like if you look back at some of his stuff, like he owns like an Amish farm right now. And even back in the day, like he worked on an Amish farm for like 3 years straight in high school or something. And so, yeah, I guess long story short, he basically worked with Joel Salatin. I saw Joel Salatin on a podcast, and the interviewer was like, so what was it like driving in Ty Lopez's Lamborghini? And Joel Salatin, this farmer guy, he's like, oh, it was really fast, like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who the heck is Ty Lopez? So I looked him up because I had no idea who this was. And yeah, the next thing I see like cars and the Beverly Hills mansion and all that crazy stuff. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And the biggest thing he kept saying was like, you gotta read books. Like here in my garage, here's all my books, my bookshelf. And so that's when I got into like picking up these books, reading, getting like really in tune with like Tony Robbins, mindset, business, Napoleon Hill, all kinds of stuff. But that's just like an interesting thing about Ty Lopez, because he was actually one of the first like small courses that I bought at the time, the SMMA thing. And I think that is when I really started to think like, oh, I could do like digital marketing and have like this company called Gem Social. So that's technically when it started.
That's technically when it all began.
Yeah.
Crazy that Ty Lopez got
Dude,
not crazy. I mean, it makes sense.
The connections, yeah.
The connections.
Crazy.
I didn't know that he like had a mentor that worked on a farm. Like that's crazy how it all just meshes together. Again, Mccarthy, it is already written.
There you go.
It was meant to happen, which is awesome. And for many people who are like growing up, also side note, super cool how you were doing this through high school. Like that's honestly super, like that's really impressive. And I know especially when you're younger, everyone has so many limiting beliefs. So when you were kind of getting into it, did you have a lot of people around you that were like, yo, this is sick, this is awesome? Or were people kind of looking at you like, what is this guy on about?
Yeah, they thought I had like 2 heads. They thought I was crazy. Well, because like going back to what you said about your environment kind of like shapes who you become. So you almost like just follow the crowd and you do what they do. And like next thing you know, you're on this path of like, oh, I went to college and I got a job and I'm like doing the routine. So that's like what 90% of the people at my school did. And it was like a school like almost like a prep school to like get you into college and crazy stuff like that. So like all my classmates, they were trying to get into like the crazy colleges and like, you know, go do their thing, and they're super smart, very academic, and like here's me, I was like C student, C minus, you know, like I never got good grades even when I tried, and I was not academically smart. I knew from 8th grade or 9th grade I was not going to go to college. So like I didn't even spend time with like the professors and teachers doing like those, I don't even know what you call them, like the thing to get you into the college, like those
the college preps.
Yeah, like I never did that because I was just like, I'm not going to go to college. I already knew that. And I was also very outspoken about that too. I think that's what got a lot of like the flack, is like everyone thought I was crazy for like not wanting to go to college or not wanting to get a job, or like, oh, you're just trying to do this social media thing, you're trying to make money, like, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I mean, I definitely did not have much support in school. I didn't really have a ton of friends necessarily. I was also like more of like a shy kid, so I didn't really put myself out there as much. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I grew up. And I think your environment does shape you, but when you do have like the outside view of like, oh, there's like this other lane that I could follow, right? So that's why I started reading all these books. That's why I started following all these mentors. And that's eventually why I moved down here, is because in that hub in Virginia, I kind of eventually got to the point where I felt like a big fish in a little pond. Mm-hmm. You move down to Fort Lauderdale or Miami, and all of a sudden, I'm a small fish in a big pond. Yeah. I see people driving like the Rolls Royce, and you see like the people who got old money, and it's like, okay, there's levels to the game, and it kind of opens your mind to what's possible.
100%, and sometimes it's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have the open view perspective. Yeah. But other times, man, oh my days.
Well, the comparison.
Comparison is the thief of joy. And like driving around down here, it can be inspiring. And other times you're like, God damn it, man. I remember one time I was at an intersection. I was driving back to my apartment. This was back when I was living in Brickell, and I parked, and I'm at the light, and I'm waiting. And a Rolls Royce drives past me this way. A Lamborghini goes this way. A Lamborghini goes this way. And then a Ferrari drives past me. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like, I feel like I'm playing GTA, dude. I feel like I'm playing GTA. And like, I have a nice car. I'm very proud of having my car. I love it. It's beautiful. It's German. It's like everything I could have dreamed of. Being 23, having my little German car. I'm like on top of the world. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at, when you like give a little side eye, like you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Comparison is a thief of joy, and it's sometimes we spend so much time climbing to the top of the mountain that we don't take a second and enjoy the view.
Yeah.
We're just looking at where other people are at, and a lot of times, like, people can be at the top of their mountain, but not be so happy.
Oh, 100%. Tell me about it. Yeah.
As of recently, I feel like I was in a little bit of a rut at the beginning of the year because I worked really, really hard to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
And it was like, again, I did that. I did the go to high school. Also, I was a terrible high school student. Dude, it was bad. Like, it was really bad. Let's go. I was, my last 3 years of high school, because I transferred high schools midway through.
Yeah.
In the last 3 years, and this is what I was applying to colleges with because I couldn't get my grades from my first school for whatever reason. It was like a struggle to get it. I had like a 2.3 GPA.
Yeah,
like
same.
Dude, I wasn't getting in anywhere. It was rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter. All I remember doing is being like, oh, I hope I don't get into the safety school because I didn't want to be the kid that gets stuck in the hometown.
Yeah.
And I know how. I'm sure you know as well, like those hometown bubbles are so strong.
Oh, I know.
So strong. You have your friends, you have your family, especially for people who don't move around a lot. I moved a lot growing up, so I knew I was always just going to be like, not a nomad, but just bouncing around. But yeah, man, I wasn't getting into anything, and I was like, I need to get out of here right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I'm staying in New Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Like, this is not where I belong. Keep in mind, I lived in Florida, Boston, Chicago, Philly, Jersey.
Dang.
Like, I lived in so many different places, and every state has its own thing.
Yeah, that's facts.
And I'm so sorry, but out of all of them, Jersey had nothing, bro. It had nothing.
Yeah, I've been to Jersey a handful of times. I'm like a couple hours south of Jersey, so
yeah,
I would have to, unfortunately, I have to agree.
The best part about Jersey to me was Philly, and it's not even in Jersey. But yeah, so I was applying to all these colleges. I couldn't get into anything, rightfully so. And Nova Southeastern University, right here in Fort Lauderdale, or right outside of Fort Lauderdale, it's in Davie. They had like interview processes that you could do for scholarships, and I knew I also wasn't going to be going to many colleges if I couldn't get a scholarship. And I was like, dude, I screwed myself over. It was so bad. But I put all of my energy, and I had a lot of it back then. I just didn't know how to direct it.
Yeah.
I finally learned to focus on something. I was like, I need to focus. I need to lock in. I need to make sure that I get out of here. And my one goal, I was like, I need to go to Florida. Like, Florida feels like home.
Yeah.
I cannot, if I'm going to be stuck anywhere, just let me be stuck in Florida. And Nova has these interview processes that you could do to get scholarships. And there was a bunch of them. I did all of them. Of course.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dude, I'm throwing all the darts at the pinboard.
Yeah.
And there was one that was the Huizenga Business and Innovation Academy, which is an accelerated program. So you're doing like 6 classes a semester. And it's all about essentially students who want to like build their own businesses on campus. It's one of the most prestigious, or is the most prestigious like business, second most prestigious business scholarship you can get. And I remember being in the interviews, and I felt like I was doing so good at so many of these different interviews, but not for the one of the accelerated program because I did not want it. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
I was like, I don't want to be in this. So I didn't prepare for it. I kind of went into it just telling myself like, dude, I'm going to get rejected. So it doesn't matter. So I went into it just being unapologetically myself. Wow. Right? And through this process, I was able to sell myself very authentically in a way where they were able to see me as a human being and not just as a piece of paper, which was, I think, selling yourself and then later on selling whatever you're creating is like the most powerful skill, or one of the most powerful skills you can have. And they asked me what business I wanted to create. Keep in mind, I didn't even think about that. I was applying for this.
You were like,
business.
I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to step 2. And they're actually taking me seriously.
Yeah, and what business did you want to create? And I literally looked over at my empty bowl of pasta that I just made. Keep in mind, it was buttered noodles. Like, it was nothing special. And I was like, oh, I want to create a restaurant on campus. They're like, yeah, why? I was like, oh, I know how to make a mean pasta. Dude, buttered noodles. Like, and they were like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not that great at cooking anything else. And as soon as I said that, I was like, ooh, dude, like, why did you do that? And I just kept rolling with it, right? And then I was like, oh, but what I would love to do is I'd love to get different students from different backgrounds with different ethnicities to come and cook the one dish that they're really good at cooking, so that we can create a restaurant where students from all over the world can feel at home. Oh, dude, score, right? And I ended up getting into the program. I didn't belong there at all, but it was already written, right?
Yep.
And I remember talking with one of the counselors, and I told him, I was like, hey, dude, like, I'm not meant to be in this program. He goes, what do you mean? He's like, I was like, dude, I applied with like a 2.3 GPA. He's like, what? Because all the other students, the combination of all the kids who were in the program was a 3.9 GPA. Damn. I was the reason it wasn't 4.9. You know what I mean? Like, I was that one number that just tanked it for everybody. And he was looking at, he like pulls up my transcripts and everything. He's like, oh yeah, dude, someone dropped the ball. And like, normally they wouldn't say that to you, but this guy was, his name was Nick Escalante. If you're watching this, I love you. I miss you, bro. You taught me so much. Also a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, dude, and I'm going to grab that ball and I'm going to run with it. And I really doubled down on like learning how to, I was like, wow, this is how far selling myself can get. Yeah. I really doubled down on learning how to sell myself. I built a startup that was not a restaurant. It was like a mental health and well-being app.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with the reason why I got accepted into that program. And I became a hothead in that program, but it got me to the end.
There you go.
Out of like 85 students who got into the program, I was like one of 13 who actually finished it, which was sick.
That's awesome.
I was able to get my undergrad, I got my master's, and the whole time I felt I was like being trained in a way to work a 9-to-5. And growing up, I always told myself, like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do this. Like, I cannot put myself in a situation where I'm going to be like stuck in the rat race in a way. And I don't work a 9-to-5 right now. I work a 9-to-6. So
so you're winning. I mean, to be fair, I work like a 9-to-9. So it's like, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's like you choose not to work a 9-to-5 so you can work 24/7 for yourself.
Exactly. But I think there's more intrinsic reward in that in a way, right?
100%.
So especially growing up, you were in high school, just like I was, right? And you were really pushing forward for this like life that you wanted to create. What kept you moving forward when the results weren't guaranteed?
I think I just had I've always had like a couple traits. Like obnoxious confidence is one of them. Like I'm confident. I already know. And I told my parents the same thing. I was like, listen, whether I go to college or not, I'm going to succeed. Like,
don't worry about me, Mom.
Yeah, like do not worry. Like I will succeed. So obnoxious confidence was one thing. But I think just like the persistence and like just knowing that I'm meant for more. It's hard to explain. Like people have asked me like, oh, are entrepreneurs like built or like are they born? You know what I mean? Like, can you build an entrepreneur? Like, is it just like ingrained? I think you can. I mean, I think there's both, right? I think you can build skills and you can build like the desire to become an entrepreneur and like have the skill set and launch your own business. But I think to a degree, it's like it's pretty brutal. Like to do that, like there's a reason why, like
Super
cliche
brutal.
as it is, like there's the 1% and there's the 99%. Like there's a reason why 99% of people go do a typical job, or they go do the rat race and do their own thing, or like do their own little routine of working their job and clocking in, clocking out, because it's just easier, right? There's not as much risk, it's not as much headache, unknown. Like there's just so much that goes on in your head when you're like your own boss, and like you have to depend on yourself. You have to go make your own money. You have to feed your family, but then also feed families of people you've hired out and all that type of stuff. But I mean, when I was young, I just felt like I was one of those people that just had it. Like I knew that I had it. I'd be doing myself a disservice and God a disservice because I knew that I had the skills like that I could use to go out and build a massive business. So I'd be crazy not to. And I think I just always had that in me. So it's never been like a thing of like, can I do this? Or like, what if this doesn't work? Like, I'm like, I burned the boats. Like it's all in.
I burned the boats. I like that. You burned the boats. You really did.
I did, yeah. And I'm like, listen, like I'm gonna move to Florida. I'm gonna move 1,500 miles away from my family. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna build my business. Like it's just gonna happen, right? Like there was no plan B, or there was no maybe I'll get a job if it doesn't work. Like that's never been a thought. So I'm like, it doesn't matter if I am like not motivated one day, or like it's hard for me to be consistent. I need a little bit more discipline. Like it's gonna get done. And sometimes that's like the mindset you need to like put in decades of work until it finally pays off and you make your millions,
And that's what it takes. I think that being an entrepreneur is just putting yourself in like a perpetual state of suffering. In a good way, because like for me, and like you said, like life would be so easy if you were like okay with working like this career and building it out and like knowing how to save money and
then again, like there's trade-offs. Like I honestly, for me and for a lot of people that I know, like it's not as easy in the sense of like you go do your job and the job is easy and it's like very monotonous and like there's not a lot of thinking that goes into it. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's not as much strategy as there would be with an online coach. But on the flip side, like I know so many people like there are like more strapped for cash. Or they can't go out to eat, or they can't afford travel. Yeah. Like I don't have to worry about expenses at all. And I think that's a huge plus side of doing my own thing is I control my finances. It's the same thing with risk, right? It's like sure it's risky to be an entrepreneur or a coach or like build your own thing because at the end of the day, like anything can happen and like you are in control and in charge of your own results. But that's also the plus side because I mean, you think about it, a 9-to-5er, I know a lot of people that get laid off and that like Amazon just laid off 16,000 people in a day. So it's like you could be one of those unlucky people one day and there's a massive layoff. Next thing you know, you don't have a job, you haven't built your skill set, you don't have the foundations built and the structures built to go and make your own money, so you're screwed. So it's like there's always risk, there's always upsides and downsides. And I was just like, you know what? Sure, it's going to be a little bit more work, maybe a little bit more of a headache. I have to put in a lot more effort, but the upside of being an entrepreneur and coach and the impact is way outweighed.
Yeah, you don't have like a ceiling. I feel like in all these careers, there's always a ceiling, right? No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. At your job, you can work and work and work, and you
might get like a 5% raise. Like, oh, I get 3K this year extras. Like, whereas an entrepreneur, it's like it's infinite, and that's what's cool about it. It's like next year I could do double what I did this year, and I have the ability to go and build that. So it's cool.
It is cool. It's a much more broader spectrum of the more work you put in. Or I mean, there's two ways to it. The more work you put in, the more you can get out. But also there is a level of which you have to work smartly, right?
Yeah, of course.
It can't just be like pushing a square boulder up a hill. You should just spend some time rounding it out, right?
Exactly.
Which is awesome. So I'm sure throughout your entire journey, there's been many mistakes. As we've all had, right? Because if there was a person who's made a lot of mistakes in their life, I'd probably be in that top 1%.
Yeah.
But what were some of the mistakes, or what was one mistake that taught you the most while going through this journey?
That's a good question. I've honestly always been one to be very calculated. Like I do take a lot of risk. Like I said, I spent $150,000 into coaching, courses, marketing, branding. So of course some of those have gone like to negative, and like some of those are bad investments. But I feel like for the most part, it's cliche to say, but I don't even see myself, like I've never really failed. I've always just learned from any like mistake I've made. But I think really the only thing I can think of is like I've invested into like these agencies or these marketers who are going to help me run my ads and like help me get leads. And like I get desperate because I'm like, I want to get more money, I want to get more leads. I need to book 50 calls this month or like 100 calls this month. And so I'll pay somebody like 5 or 6K, and then they don't deliver, they don't perform because I trusted them and, you know, didn't pan out. But it's like when you're investing into yourself, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
But other than that though, I mean, like I really can't even think of huge mistakes that I've made.
No, that's perfect. That was the perfect
Which
answer.
is good.
No, that's not. It's good because honestly, like the whole purpose of the question and in general is that every mistake you make, or at least for me, like you always learn from the things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
You learn way more from the things that go wrong than you do from the things that go right.
Yeah,
right?
I think there's probably like little micro things maybe I'm not really thinking of that are like, oh, that didn't work, therefore we should do this. Or like, oh, that ad copy didn't work, so let's switch it to this. So it's like you could say I've made mistakes with, you know, messaging or like copying, like targeting with advertisements, little things like that. Like you said, it's like I don't even see that as like a failure or a mistake. It's like we just pivot. Like, okay, that didn't work.
Let's keep going forward.
Yeah, it's like the Edison with the light bulb. He's like, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways to like not, or like I'm 1,000 iterations closer to getting the one right. So it's like me failing or like getting the first 1 or 2 iterations wrong means I'm 2 steps closer to getting the right one. Totally. So that's kind of how I see it. You know?
And that's the right mindset to have. Is you're never, because it's gonna take
a lot of iterations.
A lot of iterations and a lot of time. And going back to that, what we were talking about earlier, like it might take 10 years. It might take 20, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are like uber successful now didn't make it until they were 40,
twice
50.
Our age.
Yeah. And who knows, we could have it all and hopefully not, but we could also lose it all just as quickly as we got it. Which, I mean, that's what happens. And sometimes when thinking about, dang, like, how can I avoid losing it all? It's by like building boundaries around the things that we truly want to see happen, and how we can make sure that we're safe and we're protected and we can get to where we want to be without getting lost in the raw, especially down in South Florida.
Oh my God. So. Exactly. And I try to be smart with my money. Like I said, I take calculated risks. So I don't just like blow it on cars or blow it on crazy marketing. It's like calculated.
Yeah, it has to be.
That's important. Yeah.
What are some boundaries that became non-negotiable in your life? Especially now as your life continues to expand.
I'd say a big one is just who I surround myself with. Like I've gotten to the point where I don't have a tolerance for, you know, high-end complainers, people that are just like always negative or complaining. Like I try to protect my energy. That's why I do like this place specifically, because it's like you can feel the wavelength. It's very similar, right? It's like flow, right? It is. We're all kind of in flow. So I like that. But yeah, I think just like being around the wrong crowd, both directly and indirectly impacts your success, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, or whether you know it or not. So like one boundary is just like literally like physical boundaries. Like I do not want to be in a proximity or like around people who are negative or like super broke, not even like broke money wise necessarily, but like broke in their mind. Yeah, it's like if they're just always in a scarcity mindset, contracting, like that stuff rubs off on you. So I need to protect my energy, and it's like I can tolerate it to a certain degree. Like if I have to like be around people here and there, that's fine, but it's like I need to protect my space as best I can and make sure that like majority of my time is being spent with like people like you or people that are motivated, or like they actually have goals, or you know they are probably 1 or 2 steps higher than me, because then that pushes me to want to be better versus like having my ego be like, oh, I'm way better than you, and like you you've not gotten anywhere close to success. Like I need to make sure that the people that I'm surrounding myself with are solid. And so that's the biggest boundary for sure.
And that definitely is one thing that's like really, I think, impactful about like Flow, the communities in general. I've had the pleasure of getting to like experience all the different communities here in South Florida, and it's really good to be a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
Because it allows for you to, like you said, like learn and grow, and like I feel like everyone here, especially here in Fort Lauderdale, is like thriving to be the best version of themselves, and nothing is more motivating than looking around and just being surrounded by people who are like killing it in their game and in their craft.
Yeah.
And it's cool seeing like the work and dedication and how much time and effort they're putting into it, because when you see the people around you like going all in, you're like, shit, man, I gotta go twice as hard.
Yeah, I better go all in.
I better start moving because this guy's up at 5. No, but it's cool and it's motivating, and it genuinely makes life and work so much more exciting, because when you get to see someone else thriving, you get to see like, and I feel like this happens a lot with me and my friends and a lot of people around me, is sometimes they do certain things that they don't even know they're doing. Like they do it very subconsciously. So you from the outside looking in can see it and recognize it. But if you were to tell them about it, they'd be like, oh, I never noticed that I did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is so cool. An example of this is Osiris. He's a good friend as well. And like everything he does it with like 100% like presence in that moment.
Yeah.
But also going into it with like the best attitude ever. I don't think I've ever seen him not be like a happy, giddy, like going at it, like giving it his all, but also trying to get the people around him to improve as well. And I think that that's something that I struggle with sometimes, is learning how to be present. Which kind of moves me like perfectly into what a question I want to ask you is, how do you balance ambition and presence?
That is a good question. How do you balance it? I mean, I feel like it's very similar. It's very similar to the question of like work-life balance. Like, oh, you spend time with your family versus you spend time with work. I don't really think there is ever a balance. Like, I think it's all, I mean, there's this analogy Ed Milet gave a while back that I saw, which I thought was really interesting. But you think about like a seesaw or like a teeter-totter. And if a teeter-totter, you think about it, this is your life, right? If a seesaw or a teeter-totter is 100% balanced, it's boring. You need to have the back and forth. You need to have some seasons where it's like, oh, we're like in work season, we're in grind season. Then you have the other seasons where it's like, oh, we want to spend time with family, relax, go on a vacation, like go to the beach, hang out. So I don't even think it's trying to like, I don't try to necessarily like find the perfect balance, because there is never ever going to be a perfect balance to anything. And I think a lot of times when we do find that balance, it gets really boring, because you think about, let's say, a 9-to-5er, clock in at 9, clock out at 5, spend 3 hours with the family, clock in at 9, clock out at 5. And it's just the same thing, very balanced, but boring, right? So like with me, it's like right now I'm in this season where I'm probably more so leaning into the work and like building the brand and the purpose and building all that. And then other times in the future, I'll probably be more so like with the family. So that's how I think about like work-life balance. And I guess with presence, I think going back to like scheduling time intentionally to like sit with yourself, journal, like try to bring yourself back to reality. Because I think a lot of us get up here and we're like, we're looking at the goals. I'm very goal oriented, so I'm always looking at what is it going to look like in 4 months, or like next month, or 4 years, or like the end of this year. So I'm always looking at the future, right? And I think we do, as entrepreneurs or coaches, we have issues with like trying to like just be in the present. And I'm like, I don't have an answer, to be honest with you. Like, I am probably one of the, like, I have coaches that I've like had that question, like entire coaching calls around that question. Because like I just struggle with presence. Like I'm like, I am motivated. I want to achieve things. And I definitely don't live in the past. Like I think that's where a lot of people are, is like they're always in the past. They're like, oh, remember when we had this and that, and like remember the good old days in high school and blah, blah, blah.
Oof.
So I do not live in the past. Like a lot of times past is where depression is, right? It's like we're living in the past, like what happened in the past, what happened in our childhood, blah, blah, blah. The other side of the extreme is like what I deal with, or like what you might deal with, which is like the future. It's like, oh, I have goals. I'm excited. And it's good to be excited about the future. But both sides we're missing like being in the present moment, like living in the present. So I wish I had an answer for you, but I'm still dealing with it. And I think really just what I do is I just try to put in rituals or practices that I know can ground me. Like journaling is a good one. So even though I don't journal every day, like I probably should, I still try to block out like a couple hours in my week so I can kind of go back to reality and go back to, how is my week, like how am I feeling currently, and just like observing my surroundings, like what's currently going on. So I think just rituals and practices do at least help a little bit to ground you and bring you back to reality and presence. But I could probably, I feel like everyone could be better at it.
Yeah, I think there's, like you said, there's no perfect balance to it. And there's honestly no perfect answer. And that's why I want to ask you. Because I don't know the answer. And I'm trying to figure that out. We'll get it
someday. We're only 23.
Yeah.
We'll get
Maybe
it.
on episode 1000, I'll find the answer.
Like I'll finally someone with wisdom.
Yeah,
40-year-old man who finally figured it out.
When you're going through those different moments of, like, sometimes work needs to be prioritized, and like something that's on my vision board for this year is dreams don't work unless you do.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can find it challenging at times to explain to my partner that, like, sometimes I'm like in work mode and I need to be in work mode because I get I call it comfortably uncomfortable when you're kind of like living this life that you enjoy, but like going back to like the entrepreneur part is like, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I open my eyes and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
same.
Growing up my whole life, I was like, I don't want to work for someone. I want to be an entrepreneur, this, that, and the other. And like, I get so comfortable in the routine that I lose track of my personal legend and what I truly wanted for myself.
Yeah.
And that's when just my mind starts racing, and it's like perpetual suffering, which goes back to what we were talking about, is like, I know I'm meant for something. Maybe it doesn't have to be something more specifically, but just something different.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've also known that since I was a kid. Like, all the time going through high school, I'd like sit there and I'd think of all the different ways that I'd like, quote unquote, make it. Yeah. And a big challenge or a big issue that I was looking back, obviously hindsight's 2020, right? Is I had all these incredible ideas, but I took no action on them. Mm-hmm. It was always like processing, but never pressing play. Mm-hmm. And making a game plan is good, but doing it and figuring it out along the way is a million times better. So when you do transition from those modes where you need to like really focus on being you and like getting to work and accomplishing those goals that you want to do, how do you communicate that with your partner so that it's clear that you're not like pulling away from them, but you're just trying to chase that personal legend and get to where you want to be, mm-hmm. but you don't want it to affect them? I don't know.
Well, what do you mean by effect?
Sometimes when you have to focus more on work or spend more time dedicated to one craft, you spend less time giving mm-hmm. and more time like receiving, so to speak.
Yeah.
Is there ever like a conversation that you need to have? I mean, as a father,
you definitely do. Yeah. I mean, it's all about communication. Like if you're not communicating, that's the main issue. But I think it's not even necessarily about time. I think as like men and entrepreneurs, like if you have like a girlfriend or a wife, you typically make the mistake of thinking you need to spend a certain amount of time with them. And it's not always time. It's mm-hmm. like intentionality or like presence with them. And going back to the presence, I could spend 5 hours or like an entire Saturday with my daughter, but if my brain is like in work mode and I'm just thinking about closing the next deal and I'm thinking about business, I'm thinking about what I need to be getting done, it's like it's not worth as much. Versus, let's say I have about 1 hour in my day or 1 hour in my week, and I'm like, not my week, but like
I know.
Let's just say in my day, right? Because that's typically what it is, like 1 or 2 hours a day. But I'm intentional. I'm like there. I'm not on my phone. I'm not scrolling. I'm not texting. Mm-hmm. Like I'm there, present. And there's like this Jay Shetty quote. I can't remember what it was, but if you guys are watching this, like look it up. But it basically, in the essence, it was like people don't care. Like the people that love you, they don't care necessarily how much time you're spending with them, but they care about the quality of time that you're spending with them. So it's like one really intentional hour where like you're looking them in the eye. You're listening. Like women, they love to talk, so they always have stories. So like you'll be there, and it'll be like a whole day of work. And if your girlfriend's there, like she'll talk your ear off, and you'll talk about stories and different things. But like you actually being there present is much more important than, let's say, spending a whole day or a weekend, and you're like, listen, I'm in like work mode right now. Like I have like goals, and that's where my mind is at right now. So you spending a weekend feeling guilty for like not working or feeling like you're falling behind, it's not going to mean as much to them versus like blocking out intentional time. And so that's why like me and my wife will go out on date nights every Friday or every Saturday.
Nice.
And so like we'll just have like a handful of hours, go to dinner, talk, be present. And I think that helps fill both of our cups. So that way going into the upcoming week, she doesn't care if I'm like in work mode. I think it's also just like setting the standard up front. Like you need to make sure that who you choose is very supportive and on board with like your mission. Because like it's one thing to date someone who goes the traditional path because there's not a huge amount of like conflict or like friction that comes up. Versus with you, it's like you might have a straight month of just like 12-hour days. And then the next month, maybe it's a little bit more light. But the person you choose, they need to have that understanding. And like luckily my wife, like she's never once, like I could be working at 8 p.m. I woke up at like 6, went to the gym, went to work, only saw her a little bit throughout the day. And then it's like 8 p.m. Like she's never once been like, hey, where you at? Like when are you coming home? Like dinner's ready, blah, blah, blah. Like she's never once been like that. So I think I got lucky with finding her. But you need to make sure that you're on the same wavelength, and even like open the door and like bring her into like what your goals are. Like get her also excited. Like, hey, this is what I'm trying to build out. This is what I'm trying to do for you and for me, like for our future family, stuff like that. And try to get her excited too, because then if she's on the same page and she understands why you're so driven or obsessed about it, it goes back to communication. If she understands and like you communicate that, it makes it easier for her to be like, it makes sense. Like he has a mission, he's trying to achieve it, and he's got these goals, and it requires maybe a little bit more time. And then you can also just set the standard and set the intention of like, hey, babe, this week, like it's gonna be super busy. Like I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to get done, and I have a lot of like tasks and meetings and X, Y, and Z. But we're gonna do a date night Friday. We're gonna hang out for like 7 hours, watch a movie, do blah blah blah, and just like communicate, set the standard, set the expectation, and open her up into like what your goals are and like why you're so driven. And I think that person has helped me a ton.
Yeah, it'll completely shift it. Communication.
I'm not the best at communicating, by the way. Like I could definitely be better at that.
I think no one's ever perfect at it. You know what I mean? And especially with something so intricate as like a partner relationship, there's
so many intricacies. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not as easy as going A to Z. You know what I mean? And there can be a lot of questions at times. And I think a big thing that I not struggle with, I think we can all struggle with. I think at times like there are questions that either I ask myself or that my partner can ask me that I don't know the answer to. I just know there are times when I need to follow my heart, and there are times when I need to follow my mind. And trying to find that balance is a challenge. And when I follow my heart, I know what I want to do, but I can't bring any logic or reason to why I feel that that's the correct next step. And then when you're asked questions on it, it's like, dude, I don't know the answer to this.
Sometimes that's not a bad thing. Sometimes that's not a bad thing. I think a lot of us, we beat ourselves up for being so passionate about what we want, but that passion's not from our head. Like we're not necessarily like the logical thing to do is let's go to college. Let's get a real solid job, get the salary, like the rational thing to do would be like just stay normal, don't do anything crazy, don't take risks. Like we're not logical. That's why we are where we're at, because we chose to be a little bit illogical and kind of follow our heart and follow our passion, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I'd much rather look back and know that I gave it a shot and be like, okay, I can leave that to rest than look back and be like, dude, what have I done? But on the topic of looking back, is there anything that you wish you could tell yourself, or the version of yourself that's still on that farm?
I think the biggest thing that I struggled with was like caring about other people's opinions. Like, because in high school, everyone judged and didn't really understand why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I would say like the biggest thing, because it also kept me from like building my brain, like putting my face in front of camera and filming reels. So
it's scary.
Yeah, it is. It's like
it's so
putting yourself out there. It's
yeah.
like, I don't know what people are going to think. So I would just say, like, listen, like, no matter what you do, for the most part, people are going to judge you. They're going to judge you if you're rich. They're going to judge you if you're poor. They're going to judge you if you're a business owner and you chase your dreams. They're going to judge you if you stayed small and followed the 9-to-5 traditional route. Like, you're going to get judgment no matter what. So you might as well do what you're meant to do, build your brand, build your passion. And so I finally, like, internalized that advice and like just post myself in front of camera. Like, I'm just unapologetically myself. I don't try to be someone I'm not. I don't try to filter and, you know, try to sway who I am. I'm just who I am. I'm going to post it out there. If I get judgment, whatever.
Oh, well, yeah.
if I did something else, I'd probably still get judgment. So, yeah, just you need to stop caring about other people's opinions, because at the end of the day, like, they're not the ones paying your bills.
100%.
Yeah, making the impact.
I'd much rather be judged by someone else than be judging myself for not trying. You know?
There you go. That's a solid quote right there.
As long as I can sleep at night. And then I got 2 final questions. For someone who's feeling stuck but really hungry, like, I know you know that feeling of waking up and being like, shit, like, I need this. What do you see as like step number 1 for someone just starting out? Waking up knowing they're meant for more, but not knowing
I would say
how to start.
Yeah, I would say the first thing is getting crystal clear on what do you want. So, like, the first thing I have a lot of my clients do is figure out who can you help, what are your skills, who do you want to impact, like, why do you want to build a brand? Like, a lot of people would just jump into this business thing or jump into this posting thing because everyone says, oh, build a brand and post content. But we don't really think about it. Like, we don't think about, who am I posting for? Like, who is my target audience? Who am I trying to help? What can I help people with? What do I want to help people with? What am I gifted at? Like, what are some of my skill sets? What do I enjoy doing? Like, a good question to ask is, like, if you are around, you know, a fire with your buds or like people that you enjoy hanging out with, like, what are some of those topics that you could talk about for hours?
Yeah.
Right. And like, for me, it was always like content, marketing, branding, and I just love that stuff. Like, I could literally you put me in a room with, like, you know, people at Buffalo Wild Wings talking about football. I don't know the first thing about football. Genuinely, I would have no idea what to say. But you put me in, and so, like, I wouldn't talk. I'd be like the shy one or the quiet one. Put me in a room full of, like, entrepreneurs, or you put me in, like, a conference with a business owner. It's like I could talk for days about personal branding, marketing, content, mindset. Like, that stuff is easy for me. So I realized that, and I'm like, okay, that must be what I meant to do. That must be my skill set. So I would hone that skill set. So the first thing is just getting clear on, like, what are some of those things you enjoy doing? What are some topics you enjoy talking about? And then figure out a way that you could potentially monetize that stuff. It's like, there's obviously tons of ways to monetize branding and marketing and content and stuff like that. But I've met crazy entrepreneurs that, like, monetize painting or, like, selling rocks. Like, it's the craziest stuff. I was like, oh, I really enjoy painting rocks. And then you, like, end up selling a freaking painted rock for $50 or some
crazy amount of money. Yeah,
some stupid thing like that. It's like, you can literally monetize everything, especially with social media and everything coming out these days with AI. It's like, it's very easy. But you need to figure out, like, what is that thing you enjoy doing and how could you potentially monetize that? But then also figure out, like, if this is like a service-based thing and you're trying to help specific people, or if you're trying to build a brand, like, who are you trying to talk to? Like, who are you trying to help? Who's that target audience? What are their pain points? What's that ideal desire or outcome they're trying to achieve? And then think in your head, like, or even just write it down, like, how can I help this person go from where they are now to where they want to be? How do I create that? How do I fill in that gap to get them from point A to point B? So I think the foundational things are usually what you want to start with if you got that drive and you know you're meant for more, but we just need, like, a direction to follow.
100%, because when you can focus on that one thing that you're meant to achieve, you can work backwards from there. You know?
Exactly.
And something that you mentioned that I really enjoyed was the fact that, oh my God, what was it? I just had it. Dude, it slipped. It's
Football?
Horrible. Not football. I'm not big on football. Oh, sorry. Thank you. That actually did remind me
Yeah,
that I feel a lot of times we get so hung up on trying to understand, like, what are we passionate about? Like, the word passion is so intricate and can be so difficult and, like, challenging to figure out. But it sounds like this big, like, it's supposed to be like your life mission, but it's really as simple as, like you said, like, if you were sitting around a bonfire with your friends, what could you talk about for hours?
Yeah.
What could you do? What are you good at? For me, all throughout high school, it was very lucky because I moved around a lot. I became very, very good at being, like, adaptable. I never fit into a single friend group because I was friends with everybody, from the popular kids to the snobby ones to, like, the and I love the weird kids. I was a weird kid, and I say this with all love, to, like, the weirdest of the weird kids, because, like, those, I really enjoy talking to them and hanging out with them, and, like, they've got so much more to say than most of the people that you would consider, like, normal. And you'll learn so much more from them too. So, like, sometimes it's so good to just dumb it down and be like, what are you good at? For me, it was, I can talk and connect with, like, anybody, and I was very adaptable, and I've quite literally built my entire career off of that now.
Yeah.
And it's literally just like, hey, I'm good at talking to people. Most of the time, you wouldn't even think of that as, like, an option of, like, oh, I'm gonna go to college for a talking major. You know what I mean? Like, it's a vast world out there, and there's so many ways to make money, from selling rocks to building a personal brand. And as much as it is easy, it's easier now than it ever was.
Yeah.
It's so intricate.
Yeah.
We have all the tools we could possibly ask for, but it's like figuring out the lottery numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what works for some doesn't work for everybody, but there is at times, like, a good roadmap on how you can get there.
Yeah. And you might not even, like, know exactly what you are good at. Like, that's the cool thing, is you can go experiment, like, go into high ticket sales, get into real estate for a little bit, like, go test things out, and you're like, okay, I did real estate for 8 months. I hated it. That's obviously not for me. Okay, I did high ticket sales. I love that. I'm going to keep going into this branding and sales thing. Basically what happened to me. So you can test different things and, like, see what you enjoy, see what maybe skill sets kind of unearth. Like, you want to figure out, like, what are some of those things that start growing and, like, actually start fostering a skill in. Like, you might figure out, like, okay, I get into sales or whatever it is, and you love it. And next thing you know, you just go down that lane and build something out of it. But you wouldn't know unless you didn't try.
Until you try it out.
So you might not even know necessarily. So go out and test stuff out. Like, that's the cool thing about life, is if you're younger and you have the time, just go out and figure it out, test things out, and eventually you'll get to the one thing.
Yeah, I think that's been my new personal legend, is like, trying every version of life.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can get so caught up, especially being, like, from having, like, an entrepreneurial mindset. A big thing that I have struggled with is every time I begin to enjoy something, I try to learn to monetize it. And then as soon as that happens, I start sucking the joy out of, like, that thing. So a big thing that I've been learning to do recently is just let hobbies be hobbies.
Yeah.
And not, and like, I'll make sure of that a lot of times. I'll, like, think about something and I'm like, no, this is just for me. Like, this is just to feel good and to enjoy it, not to try and build something from it. So I find it really important to want to also try out so many different things.
Yeah.
As of recently, I literally painted this huge mural, and it was so fun. And now I'm getting big into more like this, like podcasting. Yeah. I'm trying to create something more like cinematography, right?
Yeah.
Cinematographic. I'm trying to build something more cinematographic and try that out and just, like, start testing a million different things and see what sticks, right? Yeah. And what's enjoyable. And then later down the line, trying to figure out how to monetize it. But for now, it's just like, let's just have fun with it. Yeah. Sometimes we take life way too seriously.
Oh, I know. You gotta gamify the journey, going back to that GTA stuff. Like, dude, this is a big game for me, dude. Like, I'm just playing a game. It's like, I'm doing my thing. I'm building stuff, and half of the time I don't know what I'm doing, but, like, I'm just going with the flow. I'm pretty convinced that most people don't know what they're doing. They're just taking it one day at a time. It's like,
I mean,
I just embrace it. It's
confidence.
life.
Confidence is all you need, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of confidence, and everyone's like, he got it, but deep down you can be like, what is going on right now?
There you go. Yeah.
And to close this off, this is how I close off every episode. What was your definition of success in the past, and what is your definition of success now?
That's a good question. I mean, this isn't like a super uncommon thing, like especially going back to the Tai Lopez stuff. Mm-hmm. He did a really good job, I feel like, of summarizing like health, wealth, love, happiness. So that's always served me well. So I try to figure out, like, in those 4 pillars, like, how can I max out health, be healthy, love, happiness, wealth. So I'd say I don't think my definition has changed much. I think now that I'm like a father and a husband, like definitely more like presence with the family, I think is more important than maybe I gave credit to before I was like, married and when I was single. Because really, I mean, when you're young, the first thing you think about is like, oh, I need to make money. Like, money is the definition of success. If I have a crap ton of money, I'm gonna be happy and have success. But like you pointed out earlier, it's like there's tons of people who are millionaires, but they're fat and they're on their deathbed. And there's the quote, like, you have a million problems until you have one, when it's your health, right? It's like when you have a health issue, that's the only problem you're focused on. So it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have if it's all going to go, to the grave with you when you die. So that's why I think it's very multifaceted. And I've always tried to be multifaceted, where it's like, it's not just money. I also want health. It's not just health and relationships. It's also making sure I have every other area dialed in. So I don't really think it's changed too much. I think just making sure that I'm fulfilling my purpose. I'm growing. I think if you're not growing, you're dying. Yeah. So I need to make sure that I don't have to be like necessarily like chasing and like forcing things and trying to go crazy, but I do want to make sure that I'm consistently maxing out my potential and making sure that I'm actually striving to be the best version of myself. And just making sure I'm helping other people. I think that impacting other people is extremely important with your gifts and your skills. And as long as I'm doing that and I'm doing right by God and making sure that I'm actually taking the gifts and like taking life by the reins and like actually helping people along the way, then that's my definition of success.
Yeah, it's a good life as long as we're growing and helping others grow as well. That's like the whole purpose behind what I'm trying to do as well, growth. Yeah. I really appreciate you for coming on. This has been really enjoyable for me.
I hope
so I really appreciate you. This has been awesome. If you want to see more from Joe, follow him on Instagram at
Real Joe McCarthy. Daily content for the most part.
Check out the link tree. I was going through it earlier. I was doing all my research. This man has so much going on.
Podcasts, speaking gigs. Like, go dive into it. Lots of good value.
And some incredible articles written about him as well. So he's a well of information. Take advantage of it. And I cannot wait to see you guys on the next podcast. We'll talk real soon, guys. Peace.
Peace.